Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're looking at something that absolutely shatters the boundaries of computing hardware. We're talking about the RTX 5090 Lightning Z. Now, this isn't just a graphics card, okay? It's an absolute unit of technological excess. Let's unpack the staggering details of this behemoth. I mean, seriously, what kind of graphics card requires liquid nitrogen and a 3,000-watt power supply? Just let that sink in for a second. Most household appliances don't draw anywhere near that kind of power, and they definitely don't need cryogenic cooling, right? We're taking a fascinating journey into the absolute extremes of performance today. Okay, let's dive into this with Section 1, the need for graphics. You know, whether you're jumping into sprawling games like GTA 5 or the upcoming GTA 6, maybe playing Call of Duty Remastered, Red Dead Redemption 2, Cyberpunk 2077, or even doing professional video editing, having high graphical power is just a mandatory baseline nowadays. We all need it. But as you'll see, the 5090 takes this everyday baseline and launches it into another universe entirely. Before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's look at Section 2. What is ray tracing? So, if we look back at the older GTX generation on the left, it was really defined by a lack of ray tracing. The massive generational leap we're dealing with now comes with the RTX on the right, which finally brings ray tracing to the table. And this brilliantly illustrates our core definition. According to our source material, the main purpose of ray tracing is to boost up the PC to generate high frame rates. It's all about pushing for those incredibly smooth frame rates that are absolutely crucial for those high-demand applications we just talked about. Moving right along to Section 3, breaking world records. To put it perfectly, and I quote, the RTX 5090 Lightning Z hits different. This isn't just your standard step up in hardware, no way. This specific card absolutely breaks the mold and is an entirely different beast altogether. Just look at these tests. This card systematically dominates the most rigorous benchmarking software out there. It currently holds world records in 3D Mark Time Spy, and it has set massive new high scores across the board in both Geekbench 5 and Geekbench 6. 3.5 gigahertz. I mean, wow. Setting a high score at that insane overclocking speed is just a mind-boggling feat of raw engineering. Pushing a graphics processor to hit 3.5 gigahertz is literally monumental. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the massive caveat hiding behind that number. You can't just plug this thing into your wall at home and hit 3.5 gigahertz. Achieving those world record high scores requires a literal habitat of liquid nitrogen just to keep the silicon from melting down. It's an extreme environment designed purely for extreme performance. Which brings us perfectly to Section 4, extreme power and price. Consider the sheer absurdity of this number for a second, 3,000 watts. Because of this massive power drain, you need at least a 3,000-watt power supply just to make sure this single component can even operate. The electrical diet required to keep this behemoth running is completely staggering. So the crucial point is that this hardware is incredibly exclusive. As you can see, the manufacturer is skimming only the absolute best, the top 1% of the most capable chips straight off the manufacturing line just to build the Lightning Z. They're literally leaving the other 99% behind. Of course, skimming only the absolute best silicon from the top 1% comes with one final extreme metric, a whopping 8-lakh price tag. That is a massive cost, but it's the price you pay for world record-breaking architecture and just sheer raw power potential. So I want to leave you with this question to synthesize all these absolute extremes. Is top 1% performance really worth an 8-lakh price tag and a 3,000-watt power drain? We've seen the unbelievable world records, we've seen the literal liquid nitrogen requirements, but the sheer scale of this hardware pushes the boundaries of what's even possible in a PC. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring the fascinating details behind the data.